Hi there, I'm Vincent Bos, and I'm a life coach, relationship coach, and breakup coach. You can change the language of this podcast in the YouTube video settings. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing why rejection attracts an ex. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. Subscribe to my weekly support emails. The link is in the description. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing why rejection attracts an ex. So if you have been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you need to understand mentality. In today's podcast, I'm discussing 3 reasons why rejection attracts an ex. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is it worked on you. Now let me know in the comments if you feel rejected. Would you say that you feel rejection right now? Let me know in the comments and let's see what the community thinks. So feeling rejected is a terrible feeling. If you feel rejected, it makes you feel less valuable than the person that is rejecting you. And hence, they become very powerful. It's almost like a superpower, where they become more powerful in your mind and you become less powerful. And this is something which is really troubling, especially when you're trying to get an ex back. When you're going through a breakup, you need the scales of value to be somewhat similar, or certainly in your favour. If you want to try to get your ex back and you believe that your ex-dumper is the more valuable person, then unfortunately you are not likely to reconnect with them. Now, whether this is a conscious thought or something subconscious, the results are the same. And this is why point number 1 is really important, is because it worked on you. You unfortunately feel rejected. You are in a position where right now you want your ex back, but you feel that they discarded you. Now, what happens to your mindset when you experience that breakup and that feeling that they no longer want to be with you? Well, there is nothing more attractive than rejection. When we feel rejected, we feel automatically magnetized to that person or to whatever it is that we believe has rejected us. And therefore, if we can see it on ourselves, if we can acknowledge we are ourselves a proof of concept, we can start to understand how rejection can attract an ex, because it's working on you. You know, I would argue that you actually feel more attraction to your ex now than when you were actually together in the relationship. Now, maybe you disagree, but I would have to say, for right now you are feeling a pull, which I don't believe you did when you were actually together. So you can see with your own eyes and feel with your own heart exactly what I'm talking about here. It's sadly working on you, and hence we know it could work on them. Now you might think, well, yes, but I'm the dumpee. They rejected me. That's kind of obvious how I feel. How on earth can I reject someone who doesn't want me? If they don't want me, then how can I reject them? Well, that is a question which will go through many dumpee minds, and as we go through today's podcast, I'm going to be explaining how exactly you can reject someone who you believe rejected you. It doesn't make much logical sense in your mind, but I will explain how it's absolutely possible. But as I said at the beginning of today's podcast, it now feels like your ex-dumper has a superpower. You know, they might not have thought of this in a coherent way, but they are certainly in this position now where they have that superpower and they are using it against you, even if they don't really mean to. They have lived their life in a way where they've made a decision to end your relationship. They've gone down a different path and you feel discarded. You feel rejected, and now you feel ultra attracted to them. And this is that superpower we're talking about. And we really need to flip the script and get you to have that superpower moving forward. Because if you can harness it, if you can live your life where you are rejecting your ex-dumper, well, this is exactly how you can get them back, because you are already feeling the pull. You are feeling that pull right now. So imagine if we can get them to feel that same pull and what that could mean for your reconnection. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please give this video a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like my content, subscribe to the channel to keep updated. And point number 2 is it has to be the right type of rejection. So we've been speaking about so far the fact that rejection is very powerful, and that if you can wield that power, it's almost like a superpower for you. But you need to make sure it is the right type of rejection. So let me explain first of all what is not the right type of rejection. First, we will speak about ignoring your ex. Now you might think, well, my ex-dumper doesn't want to talk to me. So how does that even play out? Well, listen, lots of you will have the opportunity at some point in the future of receiving contact from your ex-dumper. And if and when you do, what you do with this is really, really important. Now, you might be thinking, well, if we're discussing rejecting an ex, then maybe what I should do is if I receive a text from my ex, maybe I should ignore it. Well, listen, there are always going to be exceptions to the rule, and this podcast is somewhat generalized, which is why I have an audio coaching service where me and you can speak one-on-one about your specifics. But in a generalized sense, if your ex-dumper reaches out to you, I suggest you do respond. Now again, there could be unique circumstances which maybe you shouldn't reply, but generally speaking, you should. Now this doesn't mean that you should reply instantly, but it also doesn't mean you should be leaving it weeks and weeks and weeks before you decide to reply or not. You should be responding in reasonable time. So the first part of point number 2 about saying, this has to be the right type of rejection, we have to include that it shouldn't be ignoring their contact. That would be the wrong type of rejection if you rejected their contact. If they reach out to you and you ignore it, I'm sorry, that is not what we're talking about. Do not do that in most instances. The second part of point number 2 is about responsibilities. Now you might be thinking, well, the way I can reject my ex is by rejecting my responsibilities. Now maybe that means you have shared childcare, where all of a sudden you're going to say, hey, I can't do that anymore. I can't look after our child during this time we agreed and arranged. Well, listen, that would be ridiculous, okay? You need to be putting your child first, but this isn't just about having children. Any responsibility that you have shouldn't be something you are trying to use as a rejection bargaining tool. Meaning, if you have financial responsibilities with your ex, maybe something that you're both paying for and you still have to post-breakup. If you just decide to stop paying it and reject what you should be doing, no, that isn't going to help you. So again, when we're talking about it has to be the right type of rejection, well, that also includes not refusing your responsibilities. If you refuse your responsibilities, that is the wrong type of rejection. Now let's consider a further type of rejection which I believe is absolutely wrong, and you shouldn't be ignoring this. And that is blanking your ex if you see them. Now whether this is a random meeting that you don't expect, or perhaps this is somewhere that you did kind of expect to see your ex, but you wasn't 100% sure exactly where and when, and then it happens, and you're thinking, do I put my head down? Do I turn away? Do I cross the road? Do I look at them but not say anything and just look angry? No, again, that is the wrong type of rejection. You shouldn't be blanking your ex-dumper if you see them. You should smile, say hi, and keep going where you're going, keep doing what you're doing, unless they stop you. If they stop you, that's fine to have a conversation. But if they don't stop you, you should be continuing to go or do whatever you were doing. That is what you should be doing. Don't look away. Don't cross the road. Don't look angry. You look at them, you acknowledge them, you can't avoid them, they're just there. You smile, you say hi, you keep going. If you don't do that, that is the wrong type of rejection. Blanking them if you see them, no, that's not going to help. And in just a moment, we're going to be discussing how to use the superpower of rejection to do what we need it to do and to actually pull your ex towards you rather than severing your bond forevermore. Because if you did reject your ex in the wrong way, unfortunately, that is going to put you much further away from possibly reconnecting than bringing them closer. So yes, rejection is a superpower, but using it wisely, using it the correct way is absolutely vital. And that's what we're going to be getting into just now. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. This is the best and diamond level of support that I can provide. Go to my website www.dateme.tips for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. Talking about your feelings can also improve your mental health. It helps prevent the buildup of negative emotions, which can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even physical health issues. Speak your heart to free your mind. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast. If you feel that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description. And point number 3 is do these 3 things. So we've previously been speaking about things you shouldn't do, okay? Now let's talk about the things that you should do, the way that you can wield rejection in the best way possible to increase the chance of getting your ex back. Because if you use this superpower, as we've said throughout today's podcast, it can give the biggest pull, which unfortunately, right now, you're actually feeling yourself towards your ex. So the first thing that I suggest you do is reject the negativity that flows through you. So most of you who are listening right now would have had a moment, or likely much longer than a moment, where you felt negative due to the breakup. It's very understandable. I'm not blaming you. I'm not saying it's unnatural or unreasonable, but if you want to try to get your ex back, you can't let negativity dictate your life. Yes, it's natural to feel it, but you need to move through this as quickly as possible. I'm not saying that you can just shift it within a few hours, a few days, or even a few weeks, but you need to make sure you are not consumed by the negativity for months and months and months. You need to reject the negativity that flows through you, because if you don't, you won't get your ex back. Now, whether this is something which is shown on your social media, whether mutual friends pass this on, or perhaps your ex-dumper sees you out and about, or maybe perhaps they even reach out to you without knowing exactly your mindset, but then it becomes clear that you are very, very negative. You are angry. You are bitter. Do you think showcasing these feelings in any way is going to help you? No, it's going to turn your ex-dumper off. But not only that, it's going to prevent you from becoming a version 2.0 of yourself. And that is even more important. Because if you're not a version 2.0 of yourself, then you are not going to be able to be the person who is able to attract new people into their life. And we need to attract new people, not just your ex. Even if it's not physical romantic attraction, we want it to be something where other people want to spend time with you. Because if you are that person, if you resonate that positivity and other people want to spend time with you, then we can safely assume your ex is going to be more likely to want to do so as well. So you can almost see it in your daily life. If you go to work and nobody wants to say hello because they're scared of your reaction for how angry you seem all the time, do you really think that's putting you in a good position to one day reconnect with your ex? It's not. Okay, so I'm not saying it's easy, but you need to work through this negativity and you need to reject it. You need to be living a life of positivity. And even if you have to fake it until you make it, this is something which is really, really important. The second thing that I suggest you do is reject the desire to reach out to your ex. Now, this is something which is likely going through your mind every second of every day right now. I want to reach out to my ex. I want to reach out to my ex. The likelihood is, dumpees, your best position is to never contact your ex again unless they contact you first. Again, there can always be caveats to that rule, but in a generalized sense, my version of a no contact rule is going to set you on the most likely path for you to find success. And that means that most of the time, if you have been dumped, you should never contact your ex again unless they contact you first. If you decide to reach out to your ex after they've dumped you, the most likely outcome is not what you're going to want. They're going to be frustrated by you contacting them. They might even be freaked out by it and think that you're stalking them. Now that of course will depend on exactly what has taken place, but you know the situation. They've ended the relationship. The dust has settled. You said your piece at the time of the breakup. They haven't changed their mind. They've actioned the breakup. You must respect their decision. If you don't, if you chase them in any way, shape or form, texting, calling, knocking on their door, waiting outside where they work, this is unlikely to help you. You need them to come to you. They will only come to you if they miss you. They can't miss you if you are always in their life, always in their orbit. So make sure that you reject the desire to reach out to your ex. And then we move on to a very, very important point, and that is that you must reject the thought that your ex-dumper is better than you. Now, this isn't about being arrogant, it's about being confident. It's about believing in yourself. It's about recognizing that you're both human beings, neither of you are perfect, but your ex-dumper is no way better than you. If you believe that your ex is the best you will ever find and you can't find anybody better than them, you're going to be more anxious about reconnecting. Anxiety is what is going to be most likely causing you to reach out when you shouldn't, and we've already spoken about how bad that can turn out. So you need to believe that you are an equal, if not even better than your ex-dumper. But if you believe that they are the best that you can find, that is going to put you in a bad position. We need to understand that if you don't get them back, you can and will find someone even better.